Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Emily Feagins, the Public Information Officer for Marion County. The video you are about to view is just one part of a multi-part series that I have put together in collaboration with the Marion County Board of Supervisors, the publicly elected officials of Marion County, as well as the department heads of the non-elected offices of the Marion County government. This series of videos is designed to provide you, the taxpayer, with information on how the Marion County government utilizes your tax dollars to provide the many services that are available. Thank you again for joining us, and please watch the channel for future videos.
Welcome back. I'm Emily Feagins, Marion County Public Information Officer.
I'm Katie Damon, Dietitian with Marion County Public Health.
We have asked Katie here today to talk a lot about formula shortages, the options that parents have, some resources that you can go to for assistance. So I think we want to just kick it off with what is going on right now. And let's start with human milk.
Okay, so for families where if there's some things that we can do to decrease dependency on some of the formula. So some of the options available, so human milk is an option. So you can purchase human milk from the Human Milk Bank. That is available. There's an Iowa Human Milk Bank. Typically families can get about 40 ounces. Does come with a cost. You can also look into milk sharing, again, weigh the risks and benefits there. And if you are choosing to do milk sharing, you will want to choose that from like a trusted family member or a close friend. You've had an open discussion, dialogue, and ideally from someone who's had the screening and testing to make sure that there aren't any diseases that could be transmitted through the breast milk. That would be more of an ideal situation. Other options would be, and this also is very dependent on the situation, but possible relactation, depending on, if you've breastfed, how close to that. There's a lot of factors there. So I really recommend if that's something that, you'd like to consider, you'd want to talk to a lactation professional about that. And if you're pregnant, consider breastfeeding so that would mean you aren't going to be as dependent on formula. And then, doing like a prenatal breastfeeding class, which you can get those through both hospitals. We have them through a WIC program with Marion County. And then really understanding what your breastfeeding support is looking like after baby comes.
Right.
Again, hospitals are going to have lactation support staff there. Marion County, we have lactation professionals as well, in addition to our peer counseling program that's attached to our WIC program. So there are resources for moms and families out there too.
And reach out to those people.
Yes,
You guys are there to help, and I know personally that it can be a struggle and it can be a long journey, and there's a lot of things that can come with it. So make sure that you reach out.
Yeah, you don't want to do this alone. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Talk to the professionals. So on to formula. You go to the grocery store to get your child's formula and the shelves are empty.
Yeah, which then just produces a lot of anxiety because you need something to feed your baby.
A lot of emotion.
Yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster, and that's really just not a fun place to be at all. So I get it. If you are using, so options there for choosing formulas, for the most part, if you have a specific, like basic, regular formula, you can choose other brands from a nutritional standpoint. Your basic full-term formulas, nutritionally, whether that's sensitive or, non-sensitive, nutritionally, they're the same.
Okay.
Not ideal. Ideally, we'd love to,
get the
stick
one that
with
works.
Yep. But we're not in an ideal situation, so we're going to have to pivot maybe a little bit. However, if you have a new metabolic specific formula, so like a formula for a specific nutritional need, those look different nutritionally. So that may be like a NeoSure, an Alimentum,
A soy.
Yes, those nutritionally may not be the exact same. And so you'd want to talk with your doctor about what are all of my options available? So if I go to the store and maybe NeoSure is not available, what are some other options that we could, use in the interim until, we can go back to what we're used to or, try. So those would be good. You want to have that conversation if you have a specialized formula. What are all my options so that you have, some flexibility if that is not available when you go to the store.
Right. And so formula waste, how can we cut down on formula waste?
Yeah, decreasing that formula waste just helps that formula go a little bit further. So that could be, instead of doing like a 4-ounce bottle, like if a baby usually does 3 ounces, only make the 3 ounces instead of 4. So instead of doing the 2 scoops with 4 ounces of water, 1.5 scoops with 3 ounces of water, and that way you still have that powdered formula for another feeding. Also doing paste bottle feeding, that can help decrease overfeeding, which would mean then you have that formula for later.
Right.
So you're not using formula that maybe wasn't needed or necessary. So there's a lot of YouTube videos. You can YouTube like what's paste bottle feeding, and there's some great visuals. More of that is just giving baby the time to give you the signals that it needs to say, yep, I'm full, thank you very much. And then, it minimizes how much formula is going wasted.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes. On to a little bit of the controversial side of it. Cow's milk, goat's milk, and the homemade formula recipe.
Right. So ultimately, families are just trying to find a way to feed their babies, right? When formula maybe not be available. So we know more now about infant nutrition than we did 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And so the concern with, like cow's milk or goat's milk, it's really meant to be more of, okay, again, proceed with caution because nutritionally it's not the same. There's things missing in there. And so it's kind of one of those, like, if you have to and you must because there's nothing available, it's better than diluting. Again, because then that means nutritionally the baby's not getting what they need.
Yep.
But again, proceed with caution. So it would only be meant to be used like for short term, we're talking days, and even then minimizing how much the baby would be receiving, 16, maybe up to 24 ounces at most. But ultimately, we aren't really sure, like, what's the threshold there on the cow's milk. So again, it's a proceed with caution. The formula, like recipes and stuff, again, nutritionally, it's not going to have everything that the baby needs. And also there's a risk for contamination because there's lots of different ingredients being mixed together. And so it can be a food safety issue.
Yep.
And formula, even by itself, is not sterile. So even when we are preparing formula, having good, practicing good like sanitation habits when we're making that. Chronobacter bacteria can be introduced in other ways. So even if it's not at the plant, it can be introduced with the scoop that's stored inside the can. So you want to store the scoop separately. And then when you're preparing that formula, heating water to 158 degrees, so really, really, really hot, mixing the formula in. Of course, we got to let that cool down because that's too hot to feed a baby. And then that hot water is going to kill off any potential bacteria that may have been in that powdered formula. So now it is going to be safer to feed the baby. And then of course, washing hands, kind of approaching it like formula is a food. So just like you would, wash your hands if you're making food at home, you'd want to do the same thing. Wash your hands, good like hand hygiene practices when preparing formula as well.
Okay. Make sure that you reach out to Katie and the public health department. They are there for resources if you ever need anything. If you have any questions, regarding this video, please feel free to reach out. Their phone number is 641-828-2238. Again, Marion County Public Health, you can reach them at 828-2238. As always, thank you for watching, and thank you, Katie.
Yeah.